Hi and welcome. In this video, we are going to see about the long contest and cook of overlaps question. Okay, problem code long cook of CodeChef February 2020 long challenge. Okay, so let's understand the problem statement first, and then we'll move on to the logic. Fine. So each month, a CodeChef long contest starts at 3 p.m. on the first Friday, and exactly after 10 days, it ends at 3 p.m. Now also a cook-off start at 9:30 p.m. in the second last Sunday of the month, and it lasts for 2.5 hours. Let's denote a month and a pair my, where m is the 12 months and y is a year. You are given two such pairs. Okay, now we need to find out that in those years, from month to month 1, year 1, month to year 2, okay, how many times long challenge and cook-off overlaps. Okay, how many times long challenge and cook-off overlaps, that we need to find out. A leap year is a leap year if it is a multiple of 400, or if it is a multiple of 4 but not a multiple of 100. Okay, for example, year 2100 is not a leap year, but year 2400 is a leap year. Fine. So we just need to find out that at how many months, the cook-off and the long challenge will overlap each other from between the given years. Okay, fine. So these are the input format, the output format, the constraints. The constraints are t is 10 to the power of 5. Okay, and y1, y2 10 to the power of 9, from 1 to 10 to the power of 9, and m1, m2 is 12, and the time limit is 1 second. So since t test cases is 10 to the power of 5 and time limit is just 1 second, so we have to actually solve this problem outside test cases. Okay, so inside test case loop we should have constant amount of time. Okay, order of 1 time. Fine. Outside test case loop we can have order of n time. Okay, so this is what we need to take care of in this particular question. Fine. So with this we can have a general idea that maybe we will use pre-computation in this particular question. Okay, fine. So these are the subtasks and these are the inputs. So from 2 to 2020, from 2 2020, that is the current year, current month. In this month, the February month, it will overlap. The cook-off and the long challenge will overlap. Fine. So let's begin with this question, and we can see in the comments that it is clearly mentioned that we need to use Gregorian calendar. We need to use Gregorian calendar, okay, for the entire span of time. Fine. So let's now see the Gregorian calendar. Okay, so this is here is nothing but a Gregorian calendar. Okay, calendar year for 1. Now there are few key observations to be made in this particular question. Okay, if those observations are made, if you can analyze few points, then the question implementation wise is pretty simple. Okay, what are those key observations? Fine. So just see, the first Friday is nothing but at 5. Okay, and it will end at 14, but the 14 is not what you say second last Sunday, it is a third last Sunday. You can see the Sunday are 2 more. Similarly, this Friday 2, it will end here, and it is not a second last Sunday, so no overlap. Friday 2 end here, no overlap. Friday 6 end here, no overlap. Friday 4 end here, no overlap, end here, and no overlap. So we like this we can check for many years. And the first observation that I am making, I am telling you directly, I have checked for years and then I have made this observation. Okay, but because of the time constraint, I am telling you directly the first observation. Okay, the first observation here is that only in the case of February, only in the case of month of February, okay, we will get what you say our overlaps. Only in case of February we will get overlaps. Okay, in no other month we will get overlaps. Only in the case of February we will get overlaps. This is the first important observation, and you can make this observation just by seeing this many years. Okay, year 1 calendar, then year 2 calendar, then year 3, year 4, year 5, and so on. Okay, you will see that only in the case of February we are getting the answer. Okay, let's now, I will just show you a sheet that I have prepared while solving this particular question. Okay, now to know about the patterns. Fine. So let me just show you the sheet. So in this sheet, as you can see, there are years 1 2 3 4 5 6 till 36. Okay, is that a leap year or not, that I have mentioned. Okay, the date when Friday comes in the month of February, this is the date when Friday comes in the month of February. Okay, now in the calendar year 1, the Friday comes at date 2, so it is written 2. Okay, in the month of February. After the first observation that only month of February is important, then we are checking for the next observations. Okay, is there an overlap? No, it is not. There is no intersection. Okay, go for the calendar year 2. Now in the calendar year 2, we can see that the Friday was at the date 1. Okay, and there is no intersection. Fine. At 3, we can see that the Friday was at the date 7. Okay, and in this case there was an overlap. The long challenge will end here, and the long challenge will end on 17, and the cook-off will start on 16. So there will be an overlap. So yes, it is written there. Okay, now in this particular case, the February 6, so there is no overlap. Okay, because there are 2 Sundays, so there is no overlap. For 4 there is no overlap. For 3 there is no overlap. For 2 no. For 1 no. For 6 again yes, there will be an overlap. Okay, it is not a leap year, there will be an overlap. Fine. Similarly for 7 there will be an overlap again. For 6 there will be an overlap again. For 7 there will be an overlap. This is what I have just seen each and every calendar, and just I have drawn this sheet. Okay, now here we have 7, here we will have an overlap. Okay, then for 6 here we will have an overlap, and for 7 here again we will have an overlap. For 6 we will don't have an overlap. How do I know this, that we will have an overlap or not for this one? So as you can see here, if I just make it to maximum size, at 7 and 6, this is the second observation, that when the date is 7 or when the date is 6, only those are the possible cases that we just found that yes, there is an overlap from the first 36 elements. Okay, so only when the February date is 7 or the February date is 6, in those cases what we can say, yes, there can be an overlap. But as you can see, 6 is overlapping sometimes and 6 is not overlapping the other times. Okay, so in this case, now in this sheet only we found out that 6 is overlapping in the case when the year is not a leap year. 6 is overlapping in the case when the year is not a leap year. See, this question is completely based on analysis and the observation part. Okay, once you know these points, the question solving is really simple. So once we made this sheet, obviously the time taken to make this sheet is more. Explaining this is not a big process. Okay, the time taken to create the sheet is a big process. So now when it was 6, the intersection was no. When it was 6 here, the intersection was yes. So what was the differentiating factor? The differentiating factor was this was a leap year and this was not a leap year. As we can see, this is not a leap year, so 6 is yes. This is not a leap year, so 6 is yes. Okay, this was a leap year, so 6 is no. Okay, for 7 there is no possibility, there is no such case. If it is a leap year, if it is not a leap year, if the date is 7 and the month is February and the Friday is on the 7th, so yes, we will definitely have an intersection. Okay, so what are the few points that we have just seen? So first, it should be February overlap. Okay, second, so the date, if it is 7, then we will definitely have an overlap, and if it is 6, we may have an overlap or we do not have an overlap. If it is a leap year, then we will not have an overlap. If it is not a leap year, then we will have an overlap. Okay, so these are the observations that we made. Okay, now these observations were crucial. After this, the code is not that hard. Okay, it is very simple, but creating this sheet and the observation was very important. Okay, the next observation, the next is the Gregorian calendar will repeat itself after 400 years. The Gregorian calendar will repeat itself after 400 years. So let's just see that part. So I will show you the sheet and this, and then we will begin. So at the year 401, Friday is at 2. At year 1 also, the Friday was at 2. Okay, now if I just go to 402, the Friday is at 1 in the Gregorian calendar. At here also the Friday is at 1. Okay, if we go to 403, then the same process will repeat. The Friday is at 7 on the month of February. Here also the Friday is at 7. Okay, so the same process, the same values will repeat again. So we will have a cycle of 400 years. We will have a cycle of 400 years with us. Okay, fine. So these are the key observations and the key points that were needed for solving this particular question. Now solving it is a very straightforward logic now to solve this particular question. Okay, so these are the observations. Let's move forward with the next part. Now while coding this, how do we create this? That at first we have 2, then we have 1, then we have 7, then we have 6, then we have 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. How do we create this? Because this is written by seeing the calculator, by seeing the calendar. Okay, but how do we create this in our array, in an array or in a vector, anything? So this creation, how do we do this? So the first element we know, so array of 1 we know it is 2. Okay, now just observe, it is 7 6 4 3 2 1, then 6 5 4 3, then 2 is missing, then 1, then 7 6 5 minus 1, then some 1 point is missing, then again minus 1, 3 to 1, then repeat by 7, so 1 and 7 nothing is missing, 7 and 5 6 is missing, then 5 4 3 nothing is missing, 5 4 3 2 nothing is missing, then we have a missing 1, and then again we go to 7. So it is a cycle, so it is nothing but 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, okay, in a circular cycle. Fine, but we can see that some of the elements were missing. So similarly in the sheet only it was given that whenever the element is missing, the previous one was a leap year. So after 6 we go to 5, it was another observation. So this, I told you, this question was based on observations. So 6 4, so it is 5, so yes, done. So after a leap year, whenever there is a leap year, the next element is missing one value, okay, is minus by 2. So minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, and it is a leap year, so the next is minus 2. Then minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, it is a leap year, so the next is minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. So minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, and now next is leap year, so 7 minus 5 becomes 2. 7 minus 2 becomes 5. So if it is not a leap year, okay, similarly just normal minus 1 will suffice, okay, but if it is a leap year, then we have to do minus 2. Okay, so now we can create a 400 size array. We can create a simple 400 size array for this particular question. Okay, now the first element will be 2. Okay, the next element, it will check whether the previous year was a leap year or not. If it is not a leap year, then simply 2 minus 1 will give me a 1. Okay, it will check whether the previous year was a leap year or not. It is not a leap year. It was 1 year, it was 2 year, it was 3 year. It is not a leap year, so 1 minus 1 will become 0, and obviously it is a circle, so it will go to 7 using the modulus operator. Okay, now we will go to 4. The previous year was a leap year, no, so minus 1. We go to 5. The previous year was a leap year, yes, so minus 2. So whenever the previous year is a leap year, then simply minus 2, so it will become 4. 6 minus 2 is 4. Is the previous year leap year? No, so minus 1. Is the previous year leap year? No, so minus 1. So this is how it will be formed, the array will be formed. So what I have done is I have taken a leap year array, okay, obviously of size 400, leap year array of size 400, okay, from 0 to 400. Fine, now from 0 to 400 means from 1 to 400 I have taken, okay, from 1 base indexing we will be working. So from 1 to 400 an array is taken. So which year is a leap year? I have made it true, okay, or 1, and rest it is nothing but 0 or false. Okay, if the year is a leap year, it will be true or 1, and if it is not a leap year, it will be false. Fine. Now for the February date array, in the case of February date array, what we have done, in the case of February date array, the first element is nothing but 2 itself. Then we will go to the next element, and we will check in our leap year array, was the I minus 1 element was a leap year or not. If it is false, then simply minus 1. If the I minus 1 element was a leap year, then minus 2. A simple straightforward logic. Okay, so we will have our February date array with this. Okay, now we need to find out in which date do we have our overlap. So we already have the observation for that. If that date has 6 or 7, then we have an overlap. In case of 7, we will again use our leap year array. So in case of 6, we will again use our leap year array. So in case of 6, if it is a leap year, then no intersection, but if it is not a leap year, then yes, it is an intersection. In case of 7, yes, there is an intersection. Okay, so we will use an overlap array. In this overlap array, we will store 1 if there is an overlap, and we will store 0 for that particular year if it is not an overlap. Okay, so we have how many arrays? Leap year array we have taken a February date array, we have taken an overlap array. Fine, so the overlap array will be something like this. So it will be something like 0, okay, then a 0, then a 0, sorry, then a 1, because it is an intersection overlap, so then it is a 0, then 0, then 0, then 0, then 0, then a 1, okay, because there is an overlap, then 0 0 0 0 1 1, because there are overlaps, then 0 0 0 0 and 1. So what will be the leap year array will be exactly this. Instead of no and yes, we will have true or false. Year 1, that is index 1, year 1, no, false. Index 2, year 2, false. Index 4, year, yes, that is nothing but true, it is a leap year. Okay, date array will be exactly like this, February date array 21764. Okay, this is nothing but the overlap array that we have just discussed. Fine. Now after this, what we need to know, we need to find out if I have given an year 10, if I have given an year 10, so how many overlaps have been done till this year, how many overlaps are completed till this particular year. That we just need to find out this point. If we have 10, then how many overlaps are done till this year. So how you will find out using this array? Will we run a loop again and again? There is no need. We can do that. Okay, we can do that. It is just 400 size array, but there is no need for that. Okay, no need to sum till 10. We just have to done a prefix just one time, create a prefix array, or in this array only do the prefix part. So 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1, so this will be 1, this will be 1, this will be 1, this will be 1, then 2, then 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, so now what this means is, when year is 10, till year 10 we have two overlaps. Till year 10 we have two overlap. One is at 6, okay, and one is at 7. When we see this at year 15, we have actually 4 overlaps. Till year 15 we have 4 overlaps. From the year 1 till year 15 we have 4 overlaps. Okay, from year 18, from year 1 till year 18 we have 4 overlaps. From year 1 till year 23 we have 5 overlaps. From 22 we have 5 overlaps. Okay, so this is how the prefix array will work. Okay, prefix overlap array. So it will directly tell us till which year how many overlaps have come. Fine. So after all these particular cases, this is nothing but our pre-computation. This was, all these points were to create this array, this one array, prefix array. Okay, because this is the array that we need. Now if the year is given to us, like for example 200 and 400, okay, how many overlaps are there from 200 to 400? We can simply check it. Okay, how many overlaps are there from 0 to 400, and how many overlaps are there from 0 to 199? Okay, if we subtract these, we will get how many overlaps are there from 200 to 400. It's a very direct, simple implementation. Okay, for example, if we have year 5 and year 15, okay, so how many overlaps are there till year 4? So till year 4 we have just a single overlap, and till year 15 we have 4 overlaps. So till year 4 we have 1 overlap, and till year 15 we have 4 overlap. So from 5 to 15, how many overlaps we have? From 5 to 15 we have how many? 3 overlaps. Okay, as you can see, from 5, okay, to 15 we have how many? 3 overlaps. That is, but at this point, and this point, why we went from 5 minus 1, that is still 4, because for example, if we take 9 and 15, now in 9 and 15 we have 1, 2, 3 overlaps, correct? From 9 and 16, let's say, no, 15. From 9 and 15 we have 3 overlaps, that is at 15, at 14, and at 9. Okay, now if I do from 0 to 9 and from 0 to 15, it will say it is 2 and it is 4. 4 minus 2 is nothing but 2. We are one less short. Okay, so therefore we are going from till 0 to 8. We are not counting the overlap that is present at 9, because we need to include this overlap. Okay, we are already including 15, so we have to include this also. So from 0 to 8, 1 overlap was there. From 0 to 15, 4 overlaps are there. So in total we have 3 number of overlaps. So that's why we needed our prefix array. Okay, so a lot of things that happened. Just you can just pause the video, watch the video. Okay, whatever the observations that we have made, and after the observations that we have made, we have not taken the test cases yet. This all is nothing but a pre-computation part to create our prefix array. Okay, once this prefix overlap array is created, it is very easy to solve this particular question. Okay, whatever the y1 and y2 is given to us, just from 0 to y1 minus 1, how many overlaps? From 0 to y2, how many overlaps? Okay, and subtract these two values and we will get the answer. Okay, now we have just an array of 400 size. What if the year is 1900? What if the year is 2 lakh? What is the 20 lakh? Or what if the year is 2020? Okay, how you will handle these cases? Obviously we'll use the mod operator. How you will handle these cases, let's see. that part now. Okay, now we are going into test case territory. We will take m1, m2, y1, y2 as our inputs. Okay, we'll calculate how many, we'll calculate these two values, we'll subtract these two values, and we will get the answer. Fine, so let's do that part. So once we create that, at the 400th position we will have 101 overlaps. So that means till the year 400 we have 101 overlaps, correct? Now if for example m1 is this, and y1 is this, m2 is this, and y2 is this. Okay, now I want to know how many overlaps are there between second month of 2020 and second month of 2026. Now how we will find it out? So it is very simple. So every 400 there is a cycle, so just do 2020 mod 400, this will give you the answer as 20, and 2026 mod 400, this will give the answer as 26. Now just calculate how many overlaps are there between 20 and 26. Okay, so it is nothing but how many overlaps are there from 0 to 19 and how many overlaps are there from 0 to 26. So just see, from 0 to 19 we have 4 overlaps, and from 0 to 26 how many? 5, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 overlaps. So we have at 19 4 overlaps and 7. So we have 4 overlaps here and 7 overlaps here. So in total we have how many? 3 overlaps between 20 and 26. But these 3 overlaps are between the year 20 and 26, not the year 2022 and 2026. You have to take care of these points. Okay, from 2022 to 2026 we can have the answer as 3. That is nothing but we have 3 overlaps. Fine, we can have that. But is this the answer? For example, if we have the year 402 and 2026, now 402 mod 400 will give me the answer as 2, which is nothing but 0, and 2026 mod 400 will give the answer as 26. From 0 to 26 I think we have 7 overlaps. So is that mean that from 402 year to 2026 year we just have 7 overlaps? We just have 7? No, till from the 400 only, till the year 400 only we have 101 overlaps. So in every 400 years we have 101 overlaps. In every 400 years we have how many? 101 overlaps. And here we are getting that from 402 to 2026 we have just 7 overlaps. So what should we do? We have to count these also. We have to count these also, that in every 400 years we have 101 overlaps with us. So till 2026 how many 400 years are completed? We have to see that. Till 402 how many 400 year cycle is done? So how do we find it out? Simple division. So from 402 divided by 400 will give me 1. That means a single cycle is over. Okay, in this particular case how many cycles are over? I think 5 cycles are completed. Okay, 5 cycles of 101 overlaps are completed. Here 1 cycle of 101 overlaps are completed. Okay, fine. Now 5 cycles of 101 overlaps are completed. Okay, so 101 overlaps plus 101 into 5, these many overlaps are done, plus the 7 overlaps of from 2001 to 2026. Okay, the 7 overlaps from this will give me till year 2026 how many overlaps are done. Okay, similarly 101 into 1 for 402 plus from 401 to 402 how many overlaps are done? That is nothing but 0. This will give me how many overlaps are done till year 2026, and this will give me how many overlaps are done till year 401. Remember 401, not 402. We have to include 402. Fine, and then the subtraction of both this will give me the answer. The subtraction of both this will give me the answer. Okay, so given a year y1 and given a year y2, okay, we have to get from y1 minus 1 and y2, 0 to y1 minus 1 and 0 to y2, correct? To get that we first need how many 400 year cycles are completed. Okay, how many 400 year cycles are completed? Okay, y1 minus 1 divided by 400 into 101. So these many 400 year cycles are completed multiplied by that many overlaps. Okay, so this will give you till year y2 how many overlaps are done. Okay, till year, no, not till year y2, till these 400 cycles plus now what will now y2 mod 400, these many the cycles are more added, these many more overlaps are added at the end. Okay, so y1 minus 1 mod 400. these many overlaps will be added more. Fine. So this is the final answer. Fine. Obviously we will have long in the case of Java and long in the case of C and C++ because the values are around 10 to the power of 9. Fine. So this was the logic and the most of the implementation part for this particular question. Okay. Now let's handle one more case, and that case being that if my M1, if the months, now we have to talk about months as well. So only in the case of February, when the month is 2, then it is fine. But what if the month is 1 and the year is 2026? Okay. And if what is the month is 7 and the year is 339? Okay. Now do we need to check from 2026 to 3039? Do we need to check from 2026 to 3039? Yes. Okay. Now what if the month is 3 from 2026 and 7 to 3039? Do we need to check from 2026 or do we need to check from 2027? Because February already passed in 2026. We are at March. Okay, so we do not need to check for 2026 year. Okay, we need to start with the checking with our checking with 2027 year. This is a very important point. Okay, now similarly in this case, February is passed, so it is fine. So because we need to count it out. Fine. When we don't need to count this out, if we have 3 2026 and 1 3039. Now in this case, February has passed for 2026. So we'll begin with 2027. And in this case, we will not have February because we are just checking with the January month. Okay. So we'll subtract it and we will check only till 3038 year. Okay. So we have to check it out. So if M1 is greater than 2 and M2 is less than 2. Okay. So if M1 is greater than 2, then we will increment the year. And if M1 is less than 2, then we will decrement the year. Okay. And then we are going to have the new Y1, Y2 values and the same procedure will be followed up. Okay, so many observations, many cases in this particular question. Okay, but a really interesting question. Fine. So let's now see the implementation. So first a leap year array. Okay, so this is the leap year. If it is a leap year, true. If it is not a leap year, false. Then a February date array starting with 2. Okay, if it is a leap year, then subtract 2. Okay, if it is less than 0, then mod 8. I did mod 8 because I needed exact value 7, 6 and 7. Okay, now else just subtract by 1. And if it is less than 0, then mod it for the circular part. Fine. Then an overlap array. In this overlap array, if the February date is 7, then overlap I equals to 1. If it is 6, and if it is not a leap year, then overlap I equals to 1. Okay. In this particular case, I am just getting the prefix of the overlap. Fine. Now this value will be 101. That is the overlap at 400 position, and overlap at 0 is nothing but 0. Okay. Then take the test cases M1 Y1, M2 Y2. Okay, if M1 is greater than 2, Y1 plus plus. If M2 is less than 2, Y2 minus minus. Calculate the value 1. What is this value? Overlap of Y2 mod 400 plus Y2 divided by 400 multiplied by the 101. Y2 divided by 400 multiplied by 101. Similarly, right here, Y1 minus 1 mod 400 and Y1 minus 1 divided by, this is nothing but the cycle of 400, how many cycles have passed. Okay, and this is nothing but the current cycle that is going on of the mod 400. Then the result is value minus value 1 minus value 2 and print the result. Okay, so this was the question of LONGCOOK. Okay, how many overlaps are there of long contest and our cook-off contest. Okay, thank you.